everyone, my name is Tina, and welcome to my Genshin channel. As you could expect on this beautiful Wednesday morning, we got an announcement of the special program. Yeah, this is like an announcement of an announcement. But do you really think I can't talk 10 minutes about just a single title and an image? I've already done this before, just a warning. So version 5.8, it's gonna be called Sunspray Summer Resort. Obviously, this is gonna be our summer event. And I wanna talk about the title in other languages as well a little bit later on. But first of all, I wanna focus on where this event would be, because we kind of already know this. It has to be the new region in Natlan, Mare Jivari, also known as the Silent Sea of Ashes. We know this because Natlan is not complete just yet, and this is the final chapter before we move on to Nod-Krai. There are still more levels left on the Tablet of Tona, and the Statue of Seven is also not complete either. So it has to be this new permanent region called Mare Jivari. And what do we know about this? Because the matter of fact is, we actually know quite a lot about Mare Jivari. This is one of the most mysterious places in Genshin ever since it was released, ever since dating back 1.0. Since one of the first occasions we heard about this was actually in Venti's story quest, and that guy also gonna be part of the event. I'm gonna talk about that later. But as for Mare Jivari, we know that the wind is not blowing there, at least since the cataclysm. It's one of the reasons it's also called Silent Sea of Ashes in other languages. I mean, even in English, it's just like translation, it's not in English. And from this story quest, we know that it has some evil beast, and that was the evil beast that killed the original Stanley. Besides that, from one of the loading screens, we know that Mare Jivari is an endless plain of ash, where the wind does not blow once again. Dreams of many an experienced adventurer has ended there, and many a traveler has seized their sojourn on its account. Still sticking to 1.0, we know from the Lava Volker artifact set that at least used to be there a phoenix who was worshipped by the people. And we know there was someone called the Lava Volker from the Lava Volker artifact set who made a circlet that made him able to volk on lava. Because Mare Jivari is like super hot, it's full of lava, and if you just go in there, you're gonna turn into ash. This circlet worked for the Lava Volker for about 100 years, until it didn't, and finally he as well turned into ashes. So this place looks very dangerous, and it further has been confirmed later in the Chasm quest line, when we heard that the environment here is no harsher than that of the Mare Jivari. And even Naida says that while she knows about this place, it's one of the many places beyond my reach. There's also a hidden lore that I don't think any one of you guys have seen, because you would have had to complete the Paralogism Archon quest, and after doing that, you would then need to complete Dragon Spine, which was like 1.2, so I don't think there is that many people who would do this in this order. But if we do in this order and then talk to Orban, then we would know there is a monster in Mare Jivari called Bakunawa about 1,000 years ago. And 1,000 years ago, gonna come back to this very shortly, but that would mean this is before this island sunk into the sea, and also before even the cataclysm. However, if you talk to him after you completed the 5.2 event, it's getting a little complicated, I know. I don't even have footage of that, so I'm just gonna use the text on the Wikipedia. So if you did this after Paralogism, and after you've also done the 5.2 event, then Paimon will question the 1,000 years part, citing that the cataclysm only happened 500 years ago. I'm gonna get to that in very shortly, but we know that it wasn't even really called Mare Jivari before the cataclysm, and the cataclysm was the one that made it the Silent Sea of Ashes. And to this questioning, we didn't really get an answer, so it's a little suspicious. And with that being said, let's move on to the 5.2 event. This is a limited time event. It's called Iktomi Spirit Seeking Scrolls. And this was the event where we learned the most direct information about the Mare Jivari. First of all, we found out that it got its name Mare Jivari, or also Silent Sea of Ashes, only after the cataclysm. We as players were able to draw a map of the place, that is one of the puzzles. And we also found out that not only the ashes of the monsters and warriors who fought there covered the entire battlefield, sometimes bone-chilling cries would be heard from the depths, but also that lasted up until around 20 or 30 years ago, when strange things started happening. People started speaking of an enormous dark creature the size of a mountain roaming inside the Mare Jivari, and it was after that that Mare Jivari has disappeared from the map. And finally, we also know from the aforementioned Paralogism Archon quest that for the creation of Durin, a flesh of the immortal monster from the Mare Jivari was used by Albedo. So a lot of monsters! First we heard about a phoenix from the artifact set, and then we heard about the Bakunawa from Orban. There was also an enormous dark creature set by Chitlali, and also a flesh of the immortal monster set by Albedo. So what are these monsters? Could it be that all these monsters exist in Mare Jivari? Could it be that all these monsters refer to one single entity? Or maybe two different ones are, you know, just like not 4 different. However, I think this is where our knowledge goes at the moment. I just wanted to catch you guys off what is Mare Jivari and where we are standing right now. So when the special program happens, you guys could be like, oh my god, I know this one, I know this one. But besides that, there are still some other things I want to talk about because this is gonna be the summer theme. It is summertime. However, this time around, there is gonna be something slightly different because if you remember, so far we got completely separate summer maps temporarily. For example, the golden the golden apple. There was also Simulanka. All of these are temporarily. But unless we get 2 different areas this time around, which I wouldn't necessarily see happening, then these have to stay permanent because this is gonna have the Pyroculi, this is gonna have all the sigils, so this is gonna be a permanent addition to Netland 100%. However, this would be a summer event. I don't think that means we wouldn't get hints for future lore, how we have already had in previous summer events as well. And what could these hints be? I think the Bakunawa might be the highest potential contender for such potential hint, since what is the Bakunawa in Pinoy mythology? Literally a moon-eating dragon! Just before entering Nod-Krai, we get to meet a serpent who eats moons. This absolutely has to have lore relevance, and I cannot wait to find out more. As for the event, it's called Sunspray Summer Resort, but in Chinese and Japanese, they have a kind of a completely different title. In Chinese, it's like Summer Sketch, Burning Sun, Resort, have fun. And in Japanese as well, it's like painting the summer, burning sun, and resort, let's have some fun. But from all of these titles, you can kind of conclude that painting is gonna be one of the main themes of this event. And we can even see that one from the one short so far that Genshin has released, which is one of those painty guys, you know, like some of those quests that they were in. The little painty guy just playing a Splatoon or something like that. So I would assume that it's gonna be the theme this time around. Something else that's worth to think about, if you remember one of my previous videos about Ineffa, she's gonna be the first Nod-Krai character and she should drop this patch as well. And while she's not on this particular image here, her voice actress is gonna be one of the hosts on the Japanese stream. We know that one alongside Bennett. So she's absolutely gonna be a main part of that. However, guys, do you remember one very specific element of her drip marketing? Namely, that she doesn't have a vision. Which lore-wise, it's making sense because people in Nod-Krai don't have visions. They don't believe in the 7. If you remember from the dev update, they don't even have the 7 statues. They have something else. But it got me thinking, what extra this would give us? Because if you remember, ever since Sumeri, we always had something extra. Now, what do I mean by that? In Sumeri, we obviously got Dendro. That is a whole new element and a pretty important part of Genshin. Then in Fountain, we got the whole Pneuma Osa system, which haven't really been explored, I think, too much, but at least there is like one weekly boss who uses that. But coming into Netland, probably one of the most important extra is the Night Soul and the Night Soul bar. So my question is, what is Nod-Krai hiding from us? This is gonna be a very special case as well with Ineffa, since usually we don't really see characters appear in the previous patches. That's why this topic usually comes up whenever the big patch drops. However, Ineffa, the first Nod-Krai character, drops before Nod-Krai is out, and we still don't know a lot of things. If you remember, there were a lot of question marks instead of the vision in her like little drip marketing. We kind of assume that the people in Nod-Krai get their elemental energy directly from the moon, which we know that is like the purest form of energy. But what kind of effect it's gonna give? It's supposed to be then stronger, I would assume, than visions. I mean, this is the purest energy. It should be like super strong, right? But we 100% should be finding out more in the special program this Friday about this, since, I mean, they're gonna be showcasing Ineffa. So they're probably gonna be showcasing what is different about her. However, there is still one more thing I want to talk about, and that is back to the promo image and back to our Mondstadt boys. They are back. Once again, Mondstadt is gonna be returning, and it's honestly giving me kind of an endgame vibes. Just seeing once again these characters, Bennett in his new skin, as well as Venti appearing in Netland. I'm gonna come back to this later, but let's start with Bennett. Bennett, who while still is meta ever since the very beginning of the game, we don't really know that much about him. We don't know his real parents, we only know that an adventurer from Mondstadt found him, while scorching flames scalded his skin, the deafening thunder almost ruptured his eardrums, and the hollering winds threatened to rip his soul from him. So quite harsh environment he was found in, and I know a lot of people kind of assume Mare Jivari, but I'm not necessarily sure because hollering winds? We know from 1.0 that Mare Jivari does not have winds. But nonetheless, it's still likely somewhere in Netland because of the whole flames and like this harsh environment. And this new skin that they're showcasing on this promo image also has very Netlandese elements. So we are 100% going to be finding out more about his past. Maybe from Mare Jivari, maybe the contradictions coming from the fact that even Orban wasn't really sure about what is misinformation and what is not. But nonetheless, I think he is at least somewhere from Netland, and I cannot wait to get this skin because, I mean, I'm still using him. He's still one of the best supports in the game. Now, let's move on to someone a little bit in the back, none other than Venti, one of the most mysterious characters in the game, I would say. Starting from his hello voice line, telling us that we have met already before the game, and we just found out from the Shades video that he shares a voice actress, or voice actor in Japanese, with Istra in all the 4 languages that Genshin is officially dubbed into. And if that's not enough, he shows up to Mare Jivari, to a place where there is no wind? What are you planning, Venti? What lore will you drop on us? And also, what are you doing in Netland? Are you planning a drinking competition with Mavuika? Or maybe with Chitlali? Are we gonna get some lore out of him while he's drunk? A lot of questions. But as for the answers, we have to wait a little bit more. There are still 2 more people left in this promo image, namely Mualani and Chaska. We'll see what is going to be there doing in Mare Jivari. But I also want to mention that there must be other characters still appearing, because usually we get like a 4-star skin and a 5-star skin. And as for the 4-star skin, we already see it on Bennett. So there must be a 5-star skin as well that we don't see on any of the other 3 characters, who are like, this is a very weird combination, like what are they doing together? Nonetheless, I just cannot wait to find out more. This is looking like a very exciting patch. However, as we know, even gods have their limits, and even I have limits on how much I can yap, and that's about it. That's about all the things I could say about just this one image and the title. Hopefully I was able to catch up you guys with everything that's been happening. And don't forget, this Friday there is going to be a special program. I'm gonna be streaming my reaction on both my Twitch and also on my YouTube channel, like right here. So choose the platform you want. I'm gonna be there on both. And after my reaction, obviously I'm still gonna be making a video about all the things that we have learned there. So that's supposed to be coming sometime this weekend as well. There's gonna be so much content in the upcoming weeks, so make sure to subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give a like. I will see you on my Genshin channel, and see you in the next one. Bye bye!